What up, BGT Moose here. Since this month is Black History Month, I've been of course doing my reviews for black-led films. So here's my review for the 2013 film, which is simply titled Lee Daniels The Butler. It was called The Butler at one point, but I guess there was like some sort of legal issues or anything, so now Lee Daniels had to literally just put his title in front of the film's like literally had to put his name in front of the film's title, which I was never really understood about, but anyway. Now, Lee Daniels, The Butler, directed by, obviously Lee Daniels. I really quite like, Lee Daniels, The Butler. Sadly, the film did not really, it did pretty great with critics, like, it has the film does have a 72% Rotten Tomatoes, so it did pretty well with critics and all. Sadly, it did not really do anything at the Oscars. Before I even saw this film, I literally thought that this movie could have had Oscar potentials. Sadly, it didn't. 12 Years a Slave, of course, won that year, but I think I probably prefer The Butler over 12 Years a Slave, to be honest, yeah. But anyway, here you, of course, have Forrest Whitaker, who plays DC Cecil, who plays the character Cecil Gaines, who gets the opportunity of a lifetime when he's hired as a butler at the White House, and over the course of 3 decades, he has a front row seat to history and inner workings of the Oval Office. His wife is, of course, portrayed by Oprah Winfrey, and there's also conflicts that happens between his anti-establishment son, who's played wonderfully by David Oyelowo. David Oyelowo, by the way, I believe he was like in his 30s when he did the film. He played a 16-year-old, which I've always found a odd casting choice right there. But anyway, now you had some interesting castles here, like besides, Oprah Winfrey, besides Oyelowo, besides Whitaker, you had Elijah Kelly, who of course portrayed the role of Gaines' younger son. You had Alex Pettyfer, who was pretty solid in this. You also had David Banner, who played the role of Cecile's father. Mariah Carey played Cecile's mother. You had Terrence Howard was great in this. Of course, Terrence Howard and Lee Daniels, they worked together on Empire. You also had Adrienne Lennox, who played the role of Terrence Howard's wife in this. Vanessa Redgrave was in this. Clarence Williams. You also had Cuba Gooding Jr., Lenny Kravitz. The White House figures, here you had the late great Robin Williams as Dwight Eisenhower. You had James Marsden, who did a really solid job at playing the role of John F. Kennedy. John Cusack played Richard Nixon. Liev Schreiber was Lyndon B. Johnson. You had Alan Rickman as Ronald Reagan. Jane Fonda portrayed the role of First Lady Nancy Reagan. You even had the late Nelson Ellis as Martin Luther King Jr. He did a really decent job here. You also had other presidents that was mainly featured in archival footage, such as Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, Barack Obama, civil rights leader Jesse Jackson. This movie I thought was really solid. Had a really decent cast, really showed who Cecile was from his childhood. Of course, he was actually a slave when he was a kid, when he was a younger kid. But it really showed of who he was, from that decade all the way to his work in the Oval Office. And you also had him narrating stuff as you also had some younger actors playing younger versions of Cecile. You had power actor Michael Rainey Jr. playing a very younger version of Cecile, while Emil Aman played the teen version. So it really went into his life from his youth life to his adult life. The film also talks about the Vietnam War here. It's a really solid film. Sadly, it is a bit of an underrated film. It did not really, like I said, the reviews were pretty good, but it didn't really get talked about a whole lot, But it's still a really decent film. With a great cast. I mean, he, of course, a elderly Cecile ends up recounting his life story while waiting at the White House to meet the newly inaugurated president, who is of course Barack Obama at the time, and he was really, of course, thrilled to see a black president become our president, which was definitely really cool to watch too. But this movie is such a solid one. I mean, sadly, we do got a couple of actors in this film who are not with us anymore, such as Robert Williams, Alan Rickman, Nelson Ellis. But they were all still really solid in this film. I mean, if you guys haven't really seen The Butler, not really sure where you can find it. You can probably find it somewhere online. Hey, you can find it on Netflix. Okay. It's on Netflix, so if you guys haven't seen it, give it a go. You can also find it on Fandango Now, Vudu. Give it a watch. It's a really solid, underrated and underappreciated film. That's definitely worth watching. I mean, I literally saw this movie in theaters when it got released, and it's a really decent one. Anyway, let me leave it to you guys. Were you ever a fan of Lee Downs' The Butler? If so, what story what was your favorite parts in the film? Do you know much about the true story that this film was based on? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This is Simbu signing out.